98% of Saudi Arabia is desert. It is a landscape defined by shifting dunes, scorching heat, and a near-total absence of the one thing life requires to exist: water. By all natural laws, massive urban civilizations shouldn't exist here. And yet, if you look at satellite imagery today, you see sprawling metropolises, green parks, and industrial giants. The kingdom has committed an act of terraforming on a national scale. Through sheer engineering brute force and an unlimited budget, they are building invisible rivers across the harshest landscape on Earth. They are drawing the ocean into the desert, forcing it to climb mountains thousands of feet high, and delivering it to cities hundreds of miles away. But this miracle comes with a hidden price tag. It is an engineering marvel shaped by thirst, fueled by oil, and teetering on the edge of an ecological precipice. Today, we are looking at how Saudi Arabia became the world's largest producer of desalinated water. We're going to break down the insane engineering required to push a river uphill, the patents turning toxic waste into gold, and the uncomfortable question that haunts the future of the kingdom. When you fight nature this hard, how long until nature fights back? To understand the engineering, you have to understand the desperation. Saudi Arabia is one of the most water-scarce nations on the planet. The average annual rainfall is less than 3 inches. There are no lakes, no perennial rivers. Historically, survival relied on 3 sources: shallow aquifers refilled by rare rain, surface water from the mountainous southwest, and deep fossil aquifers. That third source, fossil water, is ancient. It has been sitting beneath the sand for centuries. But like oil, it is a non-renewable resource. Once you pump it out, it's gone for thousands of years. In the 1970s, amidst an economic boom, the kingdom attempted to become self-sufficient in food production. They tapped into these deep fossil aquifers to irrigate wheat fields in the middle of the desert. The result was a hydrological disaster. Water levels plummeted at alarming rates. The government eventually realized that trading non-renewable water for wheat was a losing game. They halted the crops and went back to importing food. But the population was still exploding. Cities like Riyadh and Jeddah were modernizing. Industry needed cooling. Construction needed concrete. By the late 70s, residents in major hubs often waited days, sometimes a week, for water to flow through their taps. Conservation campaigns, efficient appliances, and slashed subsidies lowered usage by a quarter, but it wasn't enough. You cannot conserve what isn't there. The Saudi government realized they couldn't look down for water anymore. They had to look out, at the sea. Saudi Arabia is bordered by the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf, an endless supply of water, all of it poisonous to drink. Seawater contains about 35,000 parts per million of dissolved salts. If you drink it, your kidneys need more water to flush out the salt than the water provides. It essentially dehydrates you to death. To fix this, the kingdom turned to one of the oldest scientific principles known to man: distillation.
Boil the water, turn it to steam, catch the steam, leave the salt behind. Simple, but scaling this up to feed a nation requires engineering monsters. It started with Al-Khandasa, literally the condenser, built in Jeddah in 1907. It was a coal-towered beast, producing 300 tons of water a day. It was a proof of concept. Fast forward to today, and the scale is unrecognizable. By 2025, the kingdom is operating over 33 massive desalination plants, 8 on the Gulf, 25 on the Red Sea. Together, they pump out 5.6 million cubic meters of fresh water every single day. That is roughly 22% of the entire world's desalinated water production. The crown jewel is Ras Al Khair. It is a titan of industry, the largest desalination plant in the world. For decades, these plants relied on multi-stage flash distillation, essentially boiling ocean water in a vacuum. But boiling ocean water requires immense amounts of heat. It is energy-intensive and expensive. As the demand grew, the engineers needed a paradigm shift. They stopped boiling the water and started squeezing it. Enter reverse osmosis, or RO. This technology doesn't use heat, it uses pressure. Massive pumps force salt water against semi-permeable membranes. These filters have pores so microscopic that water molecules can pass through, but salt, bacteria, and minerals are physically too large to fit. The advantages are massive. No boiling means no fuel burning directly for heat. It's modular. You can just add more filters to expand. This tech has birthed giants, like the Rabig 3 IWP and the Shakaic plants. Rabig 3 alone pumps 600,000 cubic meters daily. But creating the water is only half the battle. The ocean is at sea level. The capital city, Riyadh, is in the center of the country, surrounded by desert, sitting on a plateau. How do you move a river across a desert? This brings us to the unsung hero of Saudi survival, the water transmission systems. The Riyadh water transmission system is a feat of hydraulic engineering that rivals the aqueducts of Rome. It bridges the 290-mile gap between the Arabian Gulf and the capital. This isn't an open canal. In the desert heat, open water evaporates almost instantly. Instead, the water travels through twin steel pipelines, each 5 feet wide, lined with cement mortar. Here is the physics problem. You aren't just moving water horizontally, you're pushing it vertically. The water has to climb mountains. Some of these pipelines, like those supplying the resort city of Taif, reach elevations of 9,800 feet. That is higher than many commercial airliners fly during short hops. At that altitude, mountain climbers get altitude sickness. To achieve this, the kingdom operates the world's first closed high-pressure pipeline system. A series of intermediate pump stations maintain a delicate balance. Too little pressure, and the water slides back down the mountain. Too much pressure, and the pipes burst like a bomb. The network is staggering. The Saline Water Conversion Corporation, or SWCC, manages roughly 11,200 kilometers of pipelines. To put that in perspective, that's nearly the length of the Nile and the Amazon rivers combined. Through these steel arteries flows 16.6 million cubic meters of lifeblood every day. But this circulation system has a heartbeat, and that heartbeat requires power. This is where the story gets complicated. Desalination is a miracle, but it's a hungry one. Currently, a significant portion of Saudi Arabia's domestic oil and gas production is consumed just to create and move fresh water. There's a bitter irony here. The kingdom is burning its most valuable export, billions of dollars of potential revenue, just to stay hydrated. Estimates suggest that without a change in efficiency, desalination demands could eventually eat up half the kingdom's energy output. This economic feedback loop is unsustainable. But there's a darker cost than just money. When you extract fresh water from the ocean, you're left with a byproduct, a hyper-salty, chemical-laden sludge called brine. For every liter of fresh water produced, you generate about 1.5 liters of brine. This discharge is often hotter than the sea and contains the concentrated salt, chemicals, and heavy metals filtered out of the drinking water.
Historically, this was simply pumped back into the ocean. In the enclosed ecosystem of the Red Sea, this creates dead zones. The salinity spikes, the temperature rises, and oxygen levels crash. Seagrass, coral, and fish, the base of the food chain, suffocate. With Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the UAE being the world's top brine producers, the Arabian Gulf is becoming one of the hottest, saltiest seas on Earth. The kingdom is aware of the trap. They are racing to engineer their way out of it before the bill comes due. First, the energy problem. They are decoupling water from oil. New plants like Al-Khafji are pioneering solar-powered desalination. The goal is to have the sun, which dries out the desert, power the machines that hydrate it. But the most fascinating development is what they are doing with the brine. researchers at institutions like KAUST, King of Delhi University of Science and Technology, and the SWCC have patented technologies to stop treating brine as waste and start treating it as a mine. Ocean water is a soup of valuable minerals: lithium for batteries, magnesium for alloys, rubidium for electronics. The new approach is zero liquid discharge. Instead of dumping the brine back into the sea, they run it through further evaporation and crystallization cycles. They extract every ounce of moisture until only solid minerals remain. It transforms an ecological hazard into a commercial asset. If successful, Saudi Arabia won't just be exporting oil, they could become a global supplier of rare minerals harvested from the very water they drink. Saudi Arabia's water network is more than just infrastructure. It is a survival mechanism. It is a testament to what humanity can achieve when the alternative is extinction. They have built a machine that turns the sun and the sea into a river of life, sustaining cities where only sand should exist. The challenges remain immense. The energy cost is high, and the environmental impact requires constant vigilance and innovation. But the technologies being patented and perfected here, solar desalination, brine mining, and high-altitude pumping, are not just for the kingdom. As climate change accelerates and water scarcity becomes a global crisis, the rest of the world is watching. The pipelines snaking through the Arabian desert might just be the blueprint for the future of human civilization. I'd love to know your thoughts. Is desalination the ultimate solution to climate change, or are we just trading one environmental crisis for another? Let me know in the comments below.